So if you've been active in the Twitter Apex world, you might have heard the name Daniel Klein or DZK come up. He was the lead game designer over at Respawn, and he was responsible for Legend Balance. But on August 10th, he got terminated from Respawn. But what happened? Find out everything in this video, so like and sub, let's get into it. So to start off the video, I want to go way back into Daniel's origins. So before working at Respawn, Daniel Klein worked at Riot Games for over 8 years. He started off working as a community coordinator and eventually made his way up to associate champion designer. He worked on League of Legends characters such as Lucian, Azir, Kayn, and much more. Then after a while, he made his way up to champion designer. And this is a big reason why in the future he would be responsible for Legend Balance on Apex Legends. But during all these years, DZK built a reputation of having altercations with a large amount of the League of Legends community. In one case, he called people man babies, but to understand why he called them man babies, I would have to dive deeper into the situation. So Kotaku, which is a video game blog company, spoke to a female ex-employee at Riot Games, and they released an article talking about the rampant sexism and bigotry that occurs at Riot Games on a daily basis. I'll link the article down below if you want to read it, but this article caused Riot Games to get a lot of backlash from the Riot community. Riot Games took a while to release a statement about the situation, but when they did release a statement, they said they are listening and they will eventually take actions that benefit women. Then a couple weeks later at PAX West, Mel Caparina Garcia, who was an influencer manager at Riot Games, released a tweet saying, "Please note until 2:30, room 613 is only open for women and non-binary folks. We welcome all to join the room after 2:30. So during that time in room 613, they were doing a lot of activities that many people seemed to be interested in. They were doing activities such as resume and portfolio reviews. So imagine having the chance to speak to Riot employees about what they look for in resumes and how you can better your portfolio. I feel like that's an amazing opportunity for the people that were interested in working at Riot Games. Riot also responded saying that they are trying to serve their community that has been traditionally underserved, and in this case they are referring to women and non-binary people. And in response, the Riot community was mad once again, and this caused Daniel Klein to say something that has been memed about for years. He said, and I quote, "If you ever had to think about this for a minute in your life, congratulations, you're privileged as fuck and have been benefiting from a system that makes the lives of other people hell. I sincerely hope that these man babies crying in the thread will grow up one day." The men he referred to as man babies were mad because they felt excluded. Obviously, the events that were happening in room 613 seemed really interesting, but the fact that Daniel Klein called them man babies and privileged because they felt excluded is just dumb. So as you can see, Daniel Klein is easily triggered. And this is not the first time he got into one of these controversial situations. And the situation got completely out of hand to the point that Daniel Klein left Riot Games. And while he left like in the middle of all this commotion. He didn't get fired, he didn't get terminated, he just chose to leave. But let's fast forward into when he got employed with Respawn. Daniel Klein got a job with Respawn Entertainment as a senior game designer on January 2020. We are not sure exactly what he was doing in the company, but it wasn't until November 2020, 11 months later, that he got the job title as lead game designer. And that's when he started to have more control on Apex Legends. When he received the title lead game designer, he was behind all the character changes and balances that happened. And as we know, if someone is going to have that responsibility and they're easily triggered, that's not a good mix. I could speak about a lot of situations that Daniel Klein got into, but one I want to speak about is when pro players wanted a Gibraltar shield nerf. I'll show a clip of the kind stating the change that he wanted on Gibraltar. Let's watch it.
I think the best way for them to balance Gibby gun shield is someone who's played Gibby a absolute crap ton and thinks the gun shield is broken as it is right now, is to make the gun shield have 0 HP, but when you deploy it and like ADS, it's up forever and you take 10% reduced damage. I think this is the best because instead of the gun shield taking any damage, all bullets that pass through the gun shield are just hitting you directly, but you're taking 10% less damage, or a total of 25% less damage when you include fortified. And the thing is that even with the 25% reduced damage, the mat still equates to you having the same amount of health as if you had gun shield. But this way you can have bullets pass through and actually deal damage to Gibraltar, and there's actual bleed through, while also allowing people to farm evo off of you, which is I think a better balance overall for the character.
As you can see, the kind wanted Gibraltar's gun shield to not break but instead inflict 10% reduced damage. But Daniel Klein stated that he did not like this approach, and he believes that it removes the moment of vulnerability that Gibby has when his gun shield breaks. And some guy named Chris Miz responded saying that the gun shield breaking is almost unnoticeable. They go back and forth for a while until Chris Miz talks about how changing a tactical cooldown from 25 to 20 seconds seems relatively easy. And Daniel Klein responds sarcastically saying, "Yup, that one was super easy to do. It took me about 10 minutes to do and verify, and 2 to 3 playtests to convince me that it wouldn't hurt the game." And Caustic is in fact one of the weakest characters in the game. TSM Imperial Hal responds with a meme saying no.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Then Daniel Klein instantly blames him for flooding him with notifications when he's on vacation, even though he was receiving multiple replies of people arguing back and forth with him a day before Imperial Hal even responded. And then Imperial Hal and Daniel Klein go back and forth for a while about notifications until eventually Imperial Hal stopped responding back. So this whole situation goes to show that Daniel Klein never just gives a straight up answer. If you were to ask him a question, 9 times out of 10 it will turn into a debate on why he thinks you're wrong. Daniel Klein never cared about what people thought. His take on a character will be based off of analytics such as pick rate and win rate. Even if players that play the game more than him argue about a character such as Caustic, he instantly disagrees with what they say and says, oh, the analytics say that he is a high pick rate or low pick rate character, or he has a high win rate or low win rate. His take on any situation is always based off of analytics. But the reason why Daniel Klein got fired has nothing to do with his work ethic at Respawn. He got fired for something he said decades ago. Images of his conversations and blogs back in 2007 resurfaced. I'm going to show the screenshots, but I'm not going to go in depth on what he says because obviously I'll get demonetized or maybe even banned. So yeah, I'm not going to take that risk, but I'll still show the screenshots. So on this first screenshot, he is talking to his friend. M is his friend and D is Daniel Klein, and they are talking about his beard in this screenshot. In this next screenshot, it shows one of his blog posts. It's called Tony Has Tits. I'll show the screenshots, pause the video and read it. So those screenshots are the main reason why Daniel got fired from Respawn, and I feel like the guy was easily triggered, and due to his past he shouldn't even had a position like this, but I guess Respawn gave him a chance, and we all know what happened next. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like and sub. I'm out. Peace.